How do you survive an encounter with a hellhound?
Oh, I actually don't know. By being very nice. By saying, down, boy. Goodies, snacks.
Treats.
Treats. The souls of the damned as a treat.
Delicious. Welcome, fellow creatures of the night, to this meeting of the Midnight Culture Club. Here we venture deep into the nocturnal lands of the strange, the morbid, the absurd and the obscure in film, books, TV, fairy tales, urban legends and many other forms of pop culture. We discuss and analyse these texts to explore the fascinating ways they reflect, comment on and critique the world we live in from its darker side. I am Xenia, your overmotivated master of ceremonies, and tonight I am once again joined by a lovely guest. It is the return of the one and only of Anna.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you back.
I see you've upgraded from the overmotivated nerd to the master of
Ceremonies.
Wow.
It's very dramatic. It's what an MC is, actually.
Really?
It's a master of ceremonies.
Stand-up comedy style.
Yeah.
I mean, makes sense. That seems very cultish. Let's be real.
It sounds so dramatic. I love it. Master of ceremonies.
That does sound very dramatic.
Yes. So I have given myself a promotion.
Listen.
After a year of this podcast. It's at the moment of recording, it is a year and 5 days old.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh.
It was born on the 13th of September. It was Friday the 13th.
Nice.
Yes.
I love that. That's a very nice numerology thing.
Yes.
Cute.
Oh, and I forgot to say the last line of the intro. We are ready to declare this meeting of the Midnight Culture Club officially in session.
Love. That part, what we just said, that was not part of the meeting yet.
No. That's not going in the protocol.
That's just, chatter.
Yes, exactly. The banter, the bands.
The bands.
The bit where everyone gets a cup of tea and eats some cookies or something like that. So yeah, today's episode is another little special. It's almost kind of a continuation, sort of the Glendalough episode that I did in April. If you've heard that one. If not, you can still do that. It's full of original sounds from the places where the stories take place, which I think is very fun.
Even like a cemetery.
Even the cemetery, after which my mic suddenly didn't work anymore.
Haunted mic.
Yes, my mic was haunted. I couldn't hear it if I plugged in my headphones, I couldn't hear the sound anymore. Why is this? Right after I recorded in the graveyard, clearly my mic is now haunted. But it turned out I just accidentally pushed the button that turns off the headphone input. So yeah, it wasn't the ghost, sadly.
As far as you know.
As far as I know.
You don't know who pushed that button.
Maybe it was a ghost. I like that. We have a ghost after all. Excellent. Like the Glendalough episode, this one is also inspired by a place in Ireland that I went to while I was there in the spring. And specifically, about the local legends of this place. And the place we're talking about today is the much sung about town of Galway on the Irish west coast.
I was thinking you were about to tell me about the haunted Galway girl.
The haunted Galway girl.
Saoirse Ronan. It's actually Ed Sheeran in a wig.
Yes.
He is a little bit haunted Galway girl, isn't he?
He's very haunted doll coded.
Haunted doll?
I think he looks a bit like a haunted doll.
No, am I gonna be scared of Ed Sheeran?
I hope not. But you've been to Galway as well.
I have, twice.
Can you describe the town a little bit? Like, what does it look like? Where is it?
Is it on the West Coast?
Yes.
Sorry. So it's on the West Coast. Represent. I did not throw up gang signs right now.
No.
Listening, this is an audio medium, so...
Nobody will ever know.
It's on the West Coast. It's, to me, very interesting because there's a heavily touristic part of it. But it is also sprawling in a way that you wouldn't expect. There is one part that goes out into the sea, a park right across from it, and that part has very colorful houses.
Yeah.
Did you jump off the tower?
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
I did not jump off the tower.
I wanted to jump off the tower with you.
Aww.
In a non-suicidal way.
Cute. It's a tower that you jump off into the sea.
Springboard.
A springboard, yes.
A springboard tower?
And all the cool kids go and jump off that.
That's also part of Galway.
Absolutely. And what you said, there's these two parts that are kind of separate, right? The very touristy bit and the other part, like, consists of the west end of Galway and of the Claddagh. And the Claddagh is the former kind of fishing village part. And they are separated by a river that flows into the bay, right?
Yes.
And that is the River Corrib. And this river is kind of what we are following in this episode.
Oh, I love.
Yes.
I love a little flowing river reference.
Yes, so today we are following the River Corrib, which kind of is sort of the heart of the town. It kind of flows right through the middle. It separates the Latin Quarter, the touristy area, from the West End and the Claddagh, and from the bit that goes out where you can walk out towards the sea and towards the beach.
Is the Claddagh where the ring is from?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what the ring is named after.
yeah, because they have that ring with the hearts and the hands.
Yeah, and we will also meet a creature that is named after the Claddagh as well. So yeah, what for us is particularly important in this episode is that the river, that I wrote a sentence in my script that just stops.
Haunted script.
So yeah, for us particularly important is the River Corrib, and we will hear a little bit more about the river itself in a minute. Some river facts.
Oh, love a river fact.
But first, a word from our sponsor. That's a funny joke, because of course we don't have a sponsor.
Oh, I was about to say, wow, you're doing well.
No, but I want to give a shout out to the Dark History of Galway walking tour, which is not a sponsor of this episode. If anything, I'm their sponsor because I paid them money. But yeah, no, I did this walking tour when I was there on a very rainy evening. It was very atmospheric. Of course, I did the Dark History walking tour because if there's a Dark History walking tour somewhere, I will do it. I wrote in my script that I'm forced by the nature of my soul to participate in said Dark History walking tours. Which is correct.
You were very in a gothic mood when you wrote this.
Yes.
Had you just watched the trailer for the new Wuthering Heights movie?
No, I hadn't seen that yet. But I have a lovely short about that trailer.
Oh no.
Yes.
The ghost of Jacob Elordi.
The ghost of Jacob Elordi is haunting me forever in his sexy TikTok chef era.
What?
I think the Wuthering Heights trailer looks like those sexy chef TikToks where they like cook in a really over-sexualized way.
You're not wrong. Well, I see. I just don't know how to feel about Jacob Elordi, but I don't think this is the moment to talk about him.
I mean, I'm looking forward to Jacob Elordi in the Frankenstein movie.
Yes.
Because I'm
me
very
too.
much looking forward to the Frankenstein film. I'm very excited to be able to see it before all of you. They show it at the Zurich Film Festival.
Nice.
And I'm going to go see it. It will be on Netflix on the
Nice.
7th of November, I think.
Well, mark it in the calendars.
Okay, where were we? Oh yeah, Galway. So, yes, when I was there, I did this walking tour, and actually quite a few of the stories from this episode I first heard there, and then I went and looked into them a little bit more. Yeah, if you ever go to Galway, I can highly recommend that tour. It's really, really interesting. It has a lot of history stuff, but also some ghost stories, and like it's like a good mix.
It's a nice way to find out about a city.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you are into history, but also if you want something that's not as dry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. No, it's really cool. So, are we ready to meet our protagonist of this episode? The main waterway of Galway City.
The true
And
Galway girl.
The true Galway girl. The home of mystical creatures, terrifying fiends, and phantom landmasses. The River Corrib.
Yay! Is she a she, or is she a... or is it... pronouns on this river, please.
Pronouns the.
No, because like the sea is usually she, her.
That's true. I don't know if the river has a gender pronoun.
They, them.
Probably.
It's gender fluid.
Yes. The River Corrib is gender fluid. We have decided. The River Corrib flows fluidly from Loch Corrib, the largest lake in Ireland, 6 miles towards the coast, and it drains into the Atlantic Ocean at Galway Bay. It is one of the shortest and fastest flowing city rivers in Europe.
Oh, wow.
And because its banks are barely built on, the Corrib actually remains home to many species of wildlife.
Oh.
There's otters and wild salmon that can be spotted there, and sometimes even seals can find their way up the river into the heart of the city if you're
Cute.
very lucky. I didn't see any seals, sadly.
When we went, we stayed in this place slightly outside of Galway, but then we had an ocean view,
Oh,
which was
nice.
very lovely. One time, when we looked out, it was just the sea, and then we saw this thing in the water, and my mother was like, "Oh my god, it's a seal!" and she kept on making photos and videos of it.
Yeah.
And I went and I was like, "Oh wow!" And because I never wear my glasses, I called my little brother and was like, "Come look, it's a seal! Look at it!" And then he, only person in our family apparently to wear his glasses, went, "I think that's a rock." Emotionally, it felt like we saw a seal.
I'm glad you emotionally saw a seal.
Yeah, I think it's me, my mother. My father, I think he was trying to find the Wi-Fi.
He did not see the seal.
No, he saw the rock.
Actually,
Go on.
we need to remember that rock. We're not at that part of the podcast yet, but there is something about people seeing random rocks and things in Galway Bay.
Foreshadowing.
Yes,
Ooh.
exciting. Also, in the mouth of the Corrib River, where it meets the ocean, a colony of mute swans has found their home over 100 years ago. It's not the exact same swans, I think, unless they are ghost swans.
I mean, if
possibly.
they're mute.
The things are not actually mute.
Oh.
That's just what they're called because of legend. So yes, according to Irish folk tales, the swans are mute. They could be ghost swans, but they are not the spirits of dead swans, but the souls of humans.
Oh.
And the swans of the Claddagh, the old fishing village quarter of Galway, they are said to be the souls of the countless fishermen who sailed from Galway Bay out into the harsh Atlantic day after day throughout the centuries, and after their deaths, they return to the bay as swans to guard their boats that lie at anchor in the harbour.
Oh my god, imagine being a fisherman sailing into the sea like over and over again, and then dying and becoming a swan.
That is very cool.
Why can this not be my life?
I don't know, I guess you're not you could be a fisherman.
Fisherman's friend?
Yes.
Maybe. I think that the fisherman should date the Selkies. And then
Yes.
when the fishermen die
They
and
can
become
be together in
yeah.
the sea.
Yeah.
That's really
Do you
cute.
see the vision?
Yes, that's gorgeous. I like that. You have to be careful about the swans, though. You have to be nice to them. Because if you're not nice to the swans will not be nice to you. The absolute worst thing you can do is to kill one of the Claddagh swans. I mean, I don't know why you would, but
Well, have you met some of the swans?
some of the swans are kind of angry, which also makes sense if they are old fishermen.
That's just Dave. He was a mad lad. Back
And
when.
he still is.
And he still is.
But if you kill one of the swans, that will bring you great misfortune. Within a year, you will die yourself. At least, according to a local fisherman who said this to a boy in the 1940s, because the boy was throwing stones at the swans, and this guy was like, if you kill a swan, you will die in a year. And this is according to the Galway Museum.
It's hilarious to have a source on a myth. Something about having a source on a myth. It's just peak behavior.
I mean, the sources for this man in the 40s scaring a child, but that happened.
The fact that we can trace it back to a random guy scaring a child.
That's how myths are born.
But also, what a way to commit suicide.
Killing a swan and then waiting a year.
Tell all of your friends, hey, I think I have about a year left. It's like, oh no, what is it? Cancer? No, it's the swan.
Yeah, it's the swan curse, sorry.
Also generous of the swan to give you a full year.
That's true, yeah.
Or, I don't know.
Maybe it's extra mean, because for that whole year you will know that you're going to die.
Oh, but also, like, it says within a year.
That's true, it could be at any time in that year.
I think I would be very disappointed if I wanted the year and died within 2 days.
Yeah, I thought I had a year to travel and crochet a blanket or something like that.
Crocheting something before you die might be the most useful. It is also
Something
very
like that.
labor intensive.
That's why you need a year.
What if you crochet little hats for the swans?
Oh, you
Would they
think?
forgive you?
Maybe. I think that's a good... We have to ask this man from the 40s.
To be fair, if someone killed my friend, they gave me a little hat, I think I would be more pissed off. It's like, I know your bestie's gone, but have you seen this hat that is
Handmade by the
cat-shaped?
murderer.
Death penalty. Immediate. Sorry, that went so off course.
I love it. But I have another fun fact about the mute swans.
Go on.
They are... Well, they are not mute. But they are the origin of the term swan song.
Oh.
And that is because they are believed to be mute, except for the moment before their death, when, according to legend, they sing a sweet first and final song. And that's the origin of the term swan song. Unfortunately, it's not true because they make noises all the time.
They're constantly dying.
They're just really dramatic.
Listen, you don't know how long the song is.
But the ghostly swans are of course not the only creature that live along the River Corrib and in the Galway Bay. I will not tell you what this creature is yet, but I will ask you, did you, when you were in Galway, by any chance cross the river on Wolfstone Bridge, that's the one at the very front where it goes out into the bay, at the dark hour of midnight?
No.
That's good, that's very wise of you.
Well, good to know that my desire to be in bed by 9 has worked out.
That's good, because you'll see, but that's exactly the point of this story. Personally, I haven't done that either, but I thought about it after I heard the story, because I was like, ooh, spooky.
Ooh.
And also I'm stupid. I'm like, ooh, ghost. But it is said that if you were to cross the Corrib stream on Wolfstone Bridge at the strike of the clock at midnight, or after midnight, but at the strike of the clock sounds better, you might meet the black dog of the Claddagh.
Oh no.
Maybe you should have gone there at midnight then. The black dog of the Claddagh lives under Wolfstone Bridge. He is unfortunately not a good boy. He is a hellhound.
You can't train them.
He has glowing fiery eyes and massive sharp teeth, and he would like to have you as a delicious snack. Now, there are 2 ways to protect yourself against the dog. You said you would give him treats.
Yeah, souls.
Souls for treats. I think that is a good idea. Now that you know a little bit more about him, do you have an additional idea of how you could not get eaten by the hellhound?
Just want to call him a good boy. Maybe nobody has, you know?
That's true.
Everybody needs some words of affirmation sometimes.
I like that. It's not one of the official versions.
Okay,
Officially, you have 2 options. Well, actually, it's 3 options.
go on.
The first 2 are either you need holy water or a crucifix. You know, classic demon creature repellent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have either of those on you by chance, because normally you would of course have holy water and a crucifix, or at least one. I mean, I guess a lot of people have like a little cross.
I mean, I can also like travel with a priest.
That works too, yes.
He can just bless the water real quick.
Smart. But yeah, if you don't have holy water or a crucifix or your local priest with you, there is another option. What you can do is you can run as quickly as you can, so the dog doesn't catch up with you. You can run up the road, run up the hill in your best Kate Bush impression.
Yes.
Until you reach the first crossroads, that's in front of Lynch Castle, in case you want to know where exactly. And beyond this point, the dog can't pass because the crossroads is like a massive crucifix.
Oh.
So you can't go further than that, so you just have to reach that point faster than him. And then you're fine.
What if I want to become friends with a dog, though?
I don't know. Strangely, none of the utterly Catholic Irish people have told these stories have attempted to become friends with the hellhound.
With all due respect, worst way to treat a dog if you're being chased by one.
Run away from it.
Run away from them. That is absolutely the worst thing you should do.
That's true, yeah. It's
Yeah.
not a very good idea.
It's like I've done one dog safety course, and I know that.
So, I don't know how effective it will be. But if you reach the cross, you're fine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love stories where crossroads are. There's also stories about people being buried at crossroads so that they can haunt.
Yeah, so they get
People.
confused which direction they're going into.
Very funny that people saw a crossroad and went, Jesus!
Yeah.
Jesus is here!
This is where Jesus lives. Oh yeah, we have some context for this tale.
Ooh.
Also from the Galway City Museum, because
Oh,
they did
wow.
like a little exhibition and a little walk that you can do with all these stories about, all these local tales. And according to the Galway City Museum, this Black Dog of the Clodagh is a local version of black dog folktales that can be found throughout the British Isles. These black dogs usually lurk at bridges or crossroads, which are sort of like threshold places or places where you pass from one thing to another late at night, and they are ready to attack those who travel in the dark. And I think it's interesting that you said that you were boring and also very good because you weren't out at midnight, because that's exactly the point of those black dog stories. They are cautionary tales that are supposed to stop people from walking around at night and to discourage them from nighttime shenanigans, things like drinking and gambling and other stuff like that. So if you tell them, hey, there's like this really dangerous hellhound there, they will go home earlier and not get into trouble, which explains why this story is so popular on the British Isles.
Not to be too much of a Swiftie. But is one of those black dogs Matty Healy? And will he date you after you've broken up with your long-term boyfriend and then absolutely wreck your life?
Probably.
Yeah. And then you will have to write an entire album about him.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
can happen. That's the second worst outcome after the dog eats you.
I think that is the worst
Do you think it's
outcome.
worse?
I would rather be eaten by a dog than date some man. Ratty Healy, with all due respect.
And at least they're trying to warn you from
Yeah.
Matty Healy. I think that's very kind of them.
I will not only imagine Matty Healy in a little furry suit with like the little ears.
No.
The reason he cannot catch up to you is because he's smoking a cigarette. The asthma from all of those cigarettes.
So I hope it's Matty Healy, because then I can outrun him. I don't think I can outrun an actual hellhound.
What's the size of that thing though?
I think he's quite big. I don't know exactly how big he is, but generally
The
those
Chihuahua
things are...
of hell?
That would be great.
I could outrun the Chihuahua of hell.
Yes. But also the Chihuahua of hell maybe is not as much of a threat, because it will be difficult for him to eat you.
You've never met a Chihuahua.
But his mouth is so tiny. He can maybe eat a finger. That's it.
It'll be a slow, painful death. Just nibbles at a time.
I feel like then I can just get up and walk away.
What if you have to let him eat you? Okay, would you rather outrun a Chihuahua of hell or Matty Healy? Ratty Healy.
Is this the new version of would you choose the man or the bear?
I actually don't know about this one. Because I think I could outrun Matty Healy.
Yes, I think so too. Especially Matty Healy on all fours.
Wearing a fursuit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think I would choose Matty Healy in this case.
I think he would just ponder the world a little too much. He's down there thinking about his depression. I don't know if he's depressed. He's probably saying something that you've heard as like a 6-year-old girl, where it's like, maybe all of this is it's just a simulation. And you're like, yeah, I thought about that when I was 10.
The black dog is not the only creature in Galway who will try to drown you after midnight. Well, not drown you, he will try to eat you. The other one will try to drown you, and that's the devil.
Let's hear him out.
Yeah, so the devil is chilling by the devil's steps.
Like from the Bible?
The devil from the Bible?
Yeah.
Maybe it's also Paradise Lost Satan. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, not to be Not to be all, Where is he waiting again?
He's waiting by the Devil's Steps, by the Spanish Arch, which is like the little, it's a little arch that's out by the sea. And there are steps that go into the water there, and the devil is said to pull you into the water there after midnight. Similar reasons, because it is one of the most dangerous spots by the river, because it's basically where the river meets the incoming tide. So it's a very dangerous spot, and it's pretty clearly like a tale to warn people of going too close to the water in that spot. So instead of being like, oh, the water is dangerous, you might drown, they were like, the devil's there. Which makes a lot more sense.
Absolutely obsessed with people just going, hey, instead of explaining to you why you shouldn't do something, the devil's there.
The devil will drown you. Sorry.
Again, which devil are we talking about? Because
I don't. They did not specify the devil. I think it's just like classic average devil, to be fair. Because if it was Paradise Lost Satan, people would deliberately go there.
Oh yeah. I say completely not wanting anything at all from Paradise Lost Satan. Ultimate. Oh god, I almost said ultimate Riz Master. I'm sorry for hanging out with a 14-year-old.
I mean, if anyone is ultimate Riz Master, it's Paradise Lost Satan. So.
Rizifer.
Of course, there are many more creatures that haunt the river in the dead of night. And by the banks of the Corrib, we may also encounter an old acquaintance of ours that we have met before in another episode.
Who?
You'll see. Because here is where we have the longer story, one where I actually wrote a whole text. So you can sit back and listen.
Relax.
To this tale. See if you can spot our old acquaintance.
Be transported to Galway.
The silver moon hung low in the ink-dark sky above the Corrib. A cool breeze carried the salty breath of the sea through the streets that were dark and deserted, apart from the warm glow and faint sound of the fiddle and the voices that spilled out the windows of the pubs. The wind tousled the man's hair, a few lost drops of rain tickled his nose. He had his hands buried deep in the pockets of his coat. Even though it was only September, the night air sent shivers down his spine. Although perhaps it was not the cold that made him tremble, but the destination of his late journey. He was on the way to a wake. The wake of Tim Finnegan, his childhood friend and later rival for the honour of marrying Roisin Burke, who sang like a nightingale and could drink even the most hardened sailor under the table. She had chosen Tim with his golden curls and clear blue eyes. An easy choice, perhaps, the obvious choice for certain. Sometimes the memory still stung, but it was a long time ago now. He wasn't one to whine about some woman 20 years on, even one who had rejected him so coldly. Roisin had stopped the drinking contest with the sailors soon after the wedding, and Tim had picked it up in earnest a few years later. So much so that his blue eyes had fogged up and his cheeks turned the eternal drunkard's pink. And on Tuesday, the whiskey eventually killed him when, sloshed and unsteady, he fell off a ladder and broke his neck, at only 42 years of age. It was a damn shame about him, but it would surely show Roisin that beauty wasn't everything. He himself had only heard of Tim's death hours earlier, when the wake had already begun, and he was still on his shift unloading boats in the harbour that had returned from long days out at sea. By the time he had carried the crates and crates of fresh fish into the docks, it had been past 10 o'clock. Not enough time to return home, put on some clean clothes, and walk across the hills and along the river into the outskirts of the town where Finnegan's house stood. He had to go straight there, even though the front of his shirt was stained with scales and salt, and the strong smell of the fish clung to the cloth like a curse. It was embarrassing, if not right out disrespectful, to appear at a wake in this state, but surely it was better than not appearing at all. Still, he wrinkled his nose at the occasional whiff of dead fish that rose into his nose from within his coat. He reached the walkway along the river and followed the narrow path upstream. The familiar rushing of the water filled his ears. But on this night there was another noise, rising cool and bright like polished iron over the running water. It was the noise of a woman crying. He paused to listen. The sound seemed to come from the riverbank, just a few steps below the path. Carefully he peered down the embankment. At first it was impossible to make out anything, as the light from the windows and lanterns barely reached the water, but his eyes quickly adapted to the darkness, and he recognized the shape of a woman dressed in grey, kneeling on a slab of stone, a basket by her side. He watched as she pulled a shirt from the basket, dipped it into the water, spread it out on the flat stone before her, and began to scrub with determined movements. He frowned. It wasn't unusual for the local washerwomen to do their work down by the riverbanks, but certainly not in the middle of the night. And while she was crying as well, that seemed rather odd. He lingered. For some reason he could not stop watching the grey figure by the river. Perhaps it was her regular movements as she moved her brush back and forth on the fabric that mesmerized him, her long hair swishing across her shoulders each time. Or perhaps it was the strange combination of her perfectly controlled arms and the heartbreaking sobs. Should he go down and ask her what was the matter? Not that he had the time or felt like spending more time than necessary out in the cold, let alone listening to some dame's petty troubles. But something in the silken glow of her hair that faintly reflected the warm light of the lanterns convinced him otherwise. Surely she was a pretty young girl, and he would not mind sharing some comfort with her. He clambered down the embankment. The grass was slippery from the evening mist. Once he almost lost his footing, but managed to stop himself from falling at the last minute. A waft of the horrible stink of the fish on his shirt hit him full in the face. The woman turned around. Her face stood out white against the dark veil of her black hair. And a beautiful face it was, very beautiful indeed. Her cheekbones were high, her brow strong and even, her eyes large. And strangely, they were clear of any sign of tears. "Who are you?" she asked him, with what he was certain had to be a smirk. "Oh, I'm just a lonely wanderer." "Well, what do you want off the path then?" He paused. "I heard you crying, and I thought you might be needing help." She laughed. "Are you offering to help me with the wash?" "Oh, I'm hopeless at laundry, believe me." "I see." She turned back to her shirt and brush. He hesitated, his eyes lingering on her figure, on her white hands, the brush, the fabric of the shirt. "Actually," he blurted out, "you might be able to help me." She stopped her scrubbing and turned back around at him. "Really?" "Yes, God, he really didn't want to take off his shirt here in the cold, but cold was still better than showing up at grieving Roisin's door in a shirt stinking of fish. "Would you mind washing my shirt for me?" She glared at him, before her expression slowly settled into yet another smirk. "Of course," she answered. "Give it here." Hastily he pushed off his coat and fumbled with the buttons. His fingers trembled. He wasn't sure whether the cause was the cold, a touch of nervousness at removing his shirt in front of this pretty girl, or the reckless thought at how his removing of the shirt might play out. Admittedly, he wasn't a young stud anymore, but he was strong, his chest and shoulders broad from carrying heavy crates all day. Yes, for his age, he didn't look too shabby. The girl almost tore the shirt from his hands as he held it out to her, not wasting a single glance at his naked torso. She instantly went to work, and it took only minutes for her to hand him his shirt back. Wet, but smelling only of cotton and fresh water. "Do you always wash at night?" he asked as he clumsily slipped his arms into the sleeves. "Sometimes, when I wash for the dead." He gave a nervous laugh. "A strange girl. Well, you washed my shirt for the dead too. I am going to wake. Finnegan?" Yes, how did you know that?" She smiled. "I know many things." At these words, a shiver ran down his spine. He closed the last button of his shirt, slipped into his coat, and scrambled back onto the path, only calling out a brief goodnight to the girl. From the distance, he believed he could see her shaking her head. He hurried the rest of the way to Tim Finnegan's house. His wet shirt clung to his body like a sheet of ice, and he longed to be inside in the warm by fire, lamplight, and hot whiskey. A red-cheeked aunt or a relative of some similar description opened the door for him, and when he told her that he was freezing, she pointed out a chair wedged into the corner between the kitchen fire and the back door. Scanning the room for Roisin and catching a glimpse of her by the open coffin, her brown hair tucked behind a small ear, a sliver of her lovely face just turning away from him, he hurried to the fire and sank into the seat. He would speak to her in a minute, once he had warmed up. The glowing fire was doing an excellent job, especially after he'd struggled out of his damp coat. He grunted and let his gaze wander around the place. The room he found himself in was tidy, although it had seen better days. The floorboards were clean, but worn, and the carefully plastered walls carried a couple of wet spots. He would have taken care of that had he been master of such a nice little cottage. But Finnegan, not much use in practical matters. Then, a movement by the window caught his eye. It had been swift, barely a blur, but he was certain something had moved outside. Perhaps a drunk guest. He touched the collar of his shirt to check whether it had dried at all, as slowly, the back door creaked open. He looked up and was met with the dark eyes of the washerwoman from the river. "Oh, hello," he grinned. "Wanted to see me again?" She scoffed. "You wish." Before he could move a finger, she reached out with both hands, grabbed his collar and ripped the shirt clean from his body. And just as quickly as she had arrived, she disappeared again. The man sat in his chair, petrified, with a pallor that rivaled that of Tim Finnegan's corpse. Because when the woman had leaned in towards him as she tore off his shirt, she had hissed into his ear, "I hope you catch your death."
Oh my god. Good for her. Appropriate behavior if someone just asks you to wash their shirt.
Yeah, you look really rude.
Yeah, absolutely. Is she a little banshee?
Yes, she is a little banshee. She is the local Galway banshee.
She, her.
Banshee, her.
Banshee, her. Banshee, ben her. I see nothing wrong with that story. Women's wrongs, I support it.
Yeah, so she ripped his shirt from him. He was a dick, so
she gave him a little taste of his own medicine.
She did.
And I think that she's right.
She is absolutely right. So this is a localized tale of the banshee from Loch Corrib. So not from Galway city, but from like close by.
Not Galway girl.
County Galway girl. So I expanded it a little bit to make it into an immersive story. And I moved it from the shore of the lake to the river because we're kind of talking about the river today. But one thing that I think I stuck to very faithfully is that the little description of the tale that I found says that he impudently, rudely asks her to wash his shirt.
I think that yeah, he should die. No offense. No, you know. Don't fire me over saying this. He's not like a podcaster, is he?
Oh no, he's not.
Okay, good. Then I'm safe.
He's just some random guy who works in the docks. So I think we're good.
Yeah. Well, nobody give him a mic then.
So yeah, as you've correctly identified her, she's a banshee. Our girl from Halloween.
I'd love to see her back.
This time I went with the young pretty banshee. Last time we had the old lady banshee. Give both of them some representation.
I love a creepy woman with long black hair.
Yeah.
There's
very
something
cool.
so iconic about that.
So if you don't know the banshee yet, the banshee is a fairy woman in Irish mythology, and she is the messenger of death. Her wails and cries announce that either the person hearing them or someone close to them is going to die. Usually that's what the banshee is known for. That's kind of all her lore. But this one here is a little bit different. She appears as a washerwoman rather than a wailing ghost, although I did make her cry a bit to lure in our not very pleasant protagonist, because it's the classic banshee move. But in these stories, she's mostly defined by the washing thing. And that is not really typical behaviour for the Irish banshee. But I did find a sort of Scottish cousin who specialises in the washerwoman business.
Oh.
Yes, there is a spirit from Scottish folklore called the Ban Nia. And in the source that I read about her, which is John Gregorson Campbell's Superstitions of the Highlands and Islands of Scotland, she is described as a subtype of the banshee. Her name, Ban Nia, translates to washerwoman. And she haunts streams where she washes the clothes of those who are about to die.
Oh.
So instead of doing the crying thing, and announcing death through that, she washes the clothes of people who are about to die. And I also kind of drew on this to say that she like washes for the dead. But what's interesting in our story is, of course, that the guy asks her to wash his shirt, so he
yes.
kind of dooms himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 100% the consequences of his own actions.
Yeah. Don't ask someone who's already doing a chore to do more of that chore.
Yeah.
I think you deserve to die if you do that. I maybe take that back.
Maybe dying is a bit much, but it's understandable that she's mad.
Yeah,
It's
like
very
lose your shirt. That's
Yeah, losing
No.
the shirt, like, and being scared a little bit. I think that's fair.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do we have a source for this one? Like, what do you think? Why these two myths exist?
Those washerwoman banshee myths.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything specifically about sort of their origin, but I mean, it's interesting that it's again this kind of water thing. And there's another spirit that I think can kind of link them a little bit. A spirit called the Queenag, I think. I hope I'm saying that right. From the Scottish Highlands. So the Scottish Banshees are the ones that are kind of more water related. She laments and foretells death, like the classic Banshee, but she is associated with water specifically. So she is always near rivers and waterfalls or lochs. And she's basically also another type of Banshee. And I think with her, I think the fact that she's near the water can sort of work with the cautionary tale and the water danger explanation to some degree. There are these kind of links between the Banshee and water, and one of the explanations, I think our tour guide on the walking tour said this as well. The river and generally sort of like flowing water is also associated with the other world, so the fairy world. And since the Banshee is a fairy, she might be near water because that's kind of where the passageway to the other world is. So maybe that's where she gets in and out. So that could be an explanation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And maybe the washing is also, I'm just faintly remembering this, so I'm not completely sure if that is a thing. But I think I remember it being also something that was done to kind of commemorate the dead, to like wash their clothes and like cleanse them. That is sort of a kind of grieving ritual as well. So that could also link up there.
I was thinking whether it is one of those things where, you know how myths sometimes explain tragedies? And where if you just found someone's clothes in the water.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just, oh, he got caught, or they got caught by a banshee instead of just, they just drowned.
Yeah. Oh, I really like that. They drowned and then you find the clothes that were washed by the Banshee. Yeah. I really like that. That's a really interesting explanation. Interestingly, the Banshee she can't really do anything to you. She can only
Wash your clothes.
wash your clothes and tell you that you're going to die. She herself can't kill you.
So it's better to meet up with the banshee than with the mute swans.
Yes. She's just telling you what's going to happen. She's not really doing anything to you. But there are still ways to avoid the Banshee.
Oh, go on.
There are still like strategies that people are told to avoid the Banshee.
I mean, she sounds like an icon who I just want to meet.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
But me and that dog.
You, the dog, and the Banshee.
Yeah.
Cute. Yeah, but apparently some people want to avoid getting bansheed. There are the stories where the Banshee tries to get you to the water, so I guess she might try to drown you.
Yeah.
Which I think, again, is just like these cautionary tales about drowning. But there are ways to get away. The first one is you just have to ignore her. Don't listen.
Noise cancelling
Don't
headphones.
engage. Actually, I've been wondering, do you think that noise cancelling headphones are putting the Banshees out of their jobs?
I wanted to say something serious about that. Listen, it's a recession indicator that the banshees are getting
really?
jobs again because no one can buy noise cancelling headphones.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Maybe for the banshees it's good that no one can afford them anymore.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So at least someone wins.
Rare recession win. Job security for the banshees. Do they also get a tax break?
We should support the banshee business.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think they are sustainable. They're not polluting the environment.
Well, what kind of soap are they using?
I don't know about that, to be fair.
See. Maybe they're destroying the local ecosystem.
I think the banshees are old school. I think they're using soap that's made from
Sheep.
I don't know what people use to make soap. I know it requires some kind
Lye.
of fat and lye, yeah. I think she uses sustainable soap.
In between whales, she just goes to the local market.
That's exactly what she does. The only downside of the just ignore the wails of the banshee is that if there's actually someone down there by the river who needs help, I guess they're just gonna drown.
I guess you're just taught very early on that if you're going to die by the river, you better shut up.
You're just collateral damage in the mission of not getting bansheed.
Singing YMCA, hoping someone comes by. No, singing Galway Girl, hoping someone comes by to shut you up. What's like well-known Irish songs?
Other than the Galway Girl.
Girl, which one?
The original, obviously.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Ed
Ed Sheeran slander, I see.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry,
It's
Ed
okay.
Sheeran.
Apparently he's cool now because he does music with like a South Asian like representation.
Okay.
Which is interesting because he's not South Asian.
I mean, good for him that he's doing that now. I don't know.
No, the South Asian community is... I don't know, I saw one TikTok about it. Don't ask me. They started off with like, oh, Ed Sheeran is more British Asian than British Asians are.
That is really funny.
Yeah, it was a British Asian person. So like, you know.
They were probably right in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe he wears the same outfits that British Asian dads wear or something like that.
No, apparently he released like this song with several like he has released several songs. We don't need to get into it.
No, we don't need to talk about Ed Sheeran. So yeah, maybe don't sing the Ed Sheeran version because then they will just let you drown.
You have to learn chants from like non-local football clubs. So that someone comes to beat you up.
That is very smart. That's genius. Yeah. Since the banshee can't make you die, I feel like there's not really that much of a reason to avoid her actually. Because she'll just inform you. But there is a creature that maybe you want to avoid.
Go on.
That is a wily little snake, also associated with death and the dead surrounding the Corrib. And this one probably isn't a cautionary tale for once, but this is simply a creature causing mayhem for no reason as far as I can tell, and that is the river serpent.
Oh, nice.
The river serpent very logically comes out of Lake Corrib rather than the River Corrib. Like all respectable river serpents, because being a river serpent from the river is so 1598 and this is a river serpent from like the 1600s, okay?
Oh, I see.
River serpent is a mad lad. I don't know if it's a lad or a lady or a non-binary serpent. I don't know what the river serpent's gender is.
She, he, she, or they.
I don't know. I don't know what to call them. But what we know is that the river serpent is unhinged. First, what does river serpent look like? River serpent is half serpent and half horse.
Oh, out of all the combinations, I expected like, I don't know, man?
Yeah, something like that. No,
Yeah.
serpent and horse.
Which half?
I am not sure.
Oh,
If it's in the water, it would make... I mean, neither would make sense. I guess it would make sense to have the head of a horse and the body of the serpent so it can like slide around in the water. But
Yeah.
then it can't breathe. Maybe it holds out its head.
is it like?
And the rest of
maybe like a little seahorse situation.
Maybe, something like that. Maybe they were just bad at describing seahorses.
But also seahorses are so tiny.
And this one is not tiny because it gets up to some mayhem that I don't think a seahorse could. I would like you to guess.
I don't feel safe guessing after you told me a half horse, half serpent.
I don't think you'll find out because
Hmm.
it's not in any way related to the shape of the river serpent. But what do you think is the mayhem that the river serpent gets up to?
So apparently this is not a cautionary one.
No.
You said I wouldn't want to meet them.
No, not necessarily, no. It's not going to be dangerous for you, but it's just gonna be not a pleasant situation.
I don't know, because I would think that it like turns boats around or something like that.
That is way too logical.
Okay.
I like your idea, but the river serpent is way too weird for that. No, the river serpent has naturally,
Yes.
with its serpent body and horse head, or the other way around, chosen the honourable mayhem job of body snatcher. It sneaks into the graveyard, specifically the graveyard in the town Ochterard, I think, and it digs up and steals dead bodies. I don't know why.
Where does it take them?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I thought maybe it eats them, or maybe it sells them to the local anatomist, like Burke and Hare. Or maybe there's a third secret option. I don't know.
I just also, like, how would you know?
I don't know.
Did you bury them?
I don't know.
It's like, hey, I'm missing a body.
I have no idea how they came up with this, or what the basis of, because it's just crazy.
Well, sometimes you need to be a little silly.
Maybe they were digging up graves and were like, there's nothing in there. Must have been the river serpent.
Feels like a victimless crime.
Yeah, because they're already dead. Like,
Yeah, like I'm...
maybe don't body snatch.
Yeah,
in real life.
Don't body snatch.
Don't do that.
But I'm going to say, when I'm dead, I don't care.
I would prefer the river serpent to a human body snatcher.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like the river serpent is just doing its thing. It's probably eating it, I guess.
Okay, this opens up so many more questions about the body thing. Because is it in its horse head grabbing the body? Is it taking it with its little hooves? Is it like coiling around the body with its serpent body?
I have no... like, the anatomy of the river serpent is not very useful for body snatching or anything.
If it had talons, if it had raccoon hands,
That would all make more sense.
little
But
squirrel body.
I find the river serpent both insane and impressive,
Yeah.
in that it somehow manages to open graves and steal bodies without any body part that would be helpful for that.
Steal bodies by just vibes.
Maybe it takes the bodies so it can have hands.
Oh, that's so macabre. The way you said that, like you were about to say the cutest thing. And then you explained the most horrifying thing I think you've said in this episode yet. The cold, lifeless pants of, I don't know, I guess Tim Finnegan.
Yeah, sorry.
Don't worry and don't change. If you're a prude, don't worry and don't change. It's not even scary to me.
No, it's just weird. It does sound like a creature that a kid would make up and try to invent something really scary, but then it's just funny.
It takes the bodies. She's an icon, or he's an icon.
Or they.
It's kind of giving he, him.
He, him.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He,
We have
him, lesbian,
decided
actually.
River serpent is he, him, lesbian. Good for him.
Good for him.
We still have a last tale of Galway Bay, or rather a phenomenon or a historical curiosity, if you will,
Oh, wow.
because every once in a while, some say every 7 years, an island otherwise perpetually shrouded in mist appears bright and clear as day to the west of the Irish Atlantic coast. But even on this one day, when the island seems so close and it looks as if you could reach it, no boat that sails for its shores can actually land. And you'll never guess what this phantom island is called.
No, I have no idea.
It's called, obviously, Brazil.
No.
Well, it has a lot of names. Hy-Brasil,
Yes.
which appears to be the most common name. Brazil Island, Brazil Rock, the Land of the Blessed,
Oh.
Maida, Asmaida, simply man, or in one astonishingly accurate map from 1753, the imaginary Isle of O Brazil. Did you know Brazil is in Ireland?
Well, Pangaea, girl.
I did not intentionally include another Brazil thing, but it just appeared out of the mist. And it's not actually related to the country Brazil. No, it's actually more of a coincidence that it has the same name, or possibly named after the same thing, but it can't be named after the country Brazil because to Europeans, the island is pre-American continent. Because it appears on maps over 100 years before 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
I see.
Yes, it's older than that. I wondered, where does the name come from if it's unrelated to the country Brazil? So there's theories. One theory is that it's named after a local clan called the, and I'm probably going to say it wrong, Brasil clan, Brazil, something like that. It's a complicated Irish word with a lot of vowels.
Wait, may I see? Oh, I see, yeah. That's, I'm not even going to attempt that.
It might be named after that clan. Or it might be consisting of E, which means island, which then became the Hy, and Brez, which means beauty. So it would be the beautiful island.
Yes.
And then there's a theory by an Italian geographer, Paolo Revelli. He thinks that it comes from the medieval Latin word Brasile, which was a term for a specific type of wood dye. And we call that Brazil wood dye or Brazilin, and it's like a red color. And this was a dye that was traded all the way from India to the west of Europe from the 12th century onwards, so it would kind of match up time-wise. And this dye or plant is probably also where the name of the country Brazil comes from, allegedly, according to them. And that could be because the tree that this dye is made from is called Pau Brasilia echinata, and this also grows in Brazil. So the theory here is that the Europeans went there and saw this tree that they knew and kind of named the region after it.
Oh, I see.
And here in this explanation, the Hy is probably to be understood as like a location marker. So, hey, this is where the Brazil wood is.
Yes.
Which doesn't really make a lot of sense because it's way too cold up there for that plant to grow. But, you know, it's an imaginary island. Maybe...
Island gal.
Yeah.
It's coconuts are going to be falling off of it.
Maybe.
The northerners yearn for a southern climate.
I do. I have so much information on this island. Way too much.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. It's not real.
Okay, go on.
It first appeared on a map by the Majorcan cartographer Angelino Dulcert or something like that. I don't speak medieval Spanish, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't speak medieval Spanish either. I don't know why I leaned over to look at his name.
Angelino.
Yes.
He drew a map in the early 14th century, somewhere between 1315 and 1339. And that is the first map where the island of Hy-Brasil is visible. The first maps that the island appears on are all Spanish, Portuguese, or Italian. And that is because all the early exploration of the European Atlantic coasts were done by Mediterranean powers, because they were the ones during this time, during like late medieval period and the Renaissance period, they were the ones who had the money and the technology to do that.
Oh, I see.
Because everyone else kind of didn't. And this, by the way, is from Barbara Freitag, who wrote a whole book about Hy-Brasil.
Oh, wow.
If you're interested, there's a whole book. A lot of it is available for free in the reading sample on Google Books.
Nice.
And it's only in the 17th and 18th century that we get British maps of this region. And basically this little Brazil island was found on maps for about 500 years from the 14th to the 19th century. So it lasted for a long time. Its last appearance is on a map from the British Admiralty from 1873.
Oh, I see.
So until then they kept it in, and then it kind of finally became clear, because so many people had tried to find it, that it probably didn't exist.
Yes.
And to this day people try to find it, also with like satellite images and stuff, and there are like a few like rocks and tiny little islands, but they're kind of not big enough, or you know, if we get to the stories of what apparently people saw on the island, you're like, okay, that's kind of impossible. So yeah, the guy who called it the imaginary Isle of Brazil. He apparently caught on about 100 years before the British Admiralty that it was not real.
I see.
So yeah, he was ahead of his time. We go down a slight nerdy rabbit hole because all the maps are really interesting.
Yes.
It wasn't actually unusual for imaginary islands or extra islands to appear on maps before modern technology, like photography and satellite images. So the mainland coastlines are usually pretty accurate early on because you could like follow them. It was pretty easy to figure out how they work. But islands are a lot more difficult to map because they're not part of a larger coastline. They're like their own little bits. So it's really difficult to tell where exactly they are located, how big they are, and things like that. So cartographers often used pre-existing maps to fill in gaps as like additional information for their own maps. And so a lot of the time these phantom islands appeared on maps because they were copied from other maps and the people weren't really sure what it is, and they would rather put in too many islands than not enough because it was kind of less of an issue if there wasn't an island, rather than if there suddenly was an island.
Yeah, that would be a little bit surprising.
Yes.
It's the fallacy of doing your own research.
Yes. And there is actually a really funny little bit of lore about this. There is a really famous map called the Orontius Phineas map, and it's from 1531. And this is where this whole imaginary island thing or kind of getting proportions wrong thing went completely out of hand. So this map shows a huge continent on the South Pole that conspiracy theorists on the interwebs often interpret as evidence of Antarctica before Antarctica was discovered. And it has rivers and mountains and like stuff like that on it. According to these people, Antarctica must have been ice-free within living memory.
Oh no.
And someone is trying to hide that from us. So what probably actually happened with this continent is that it is probably Australia. A little bit in the wrong place and too big. But if you look at it, the coastline kind of matches the shape of Australia's coastline if you only see one side of it.
Yes.
And the rest of it is just kind of filled in somehow. And also there's no other sign of Australia anywhere else. And I guess they wouldn't have missed a landmass as big as Australia entirely.
Yeah.
But people like to claim that it's Antarctica though was magically ice-free.
I just would love to know what that would like mean for the world if Antarctica was ice-free. You know, like what are they hiding from us?
I think sometimes it's used by sort of like climate change deniers to be like, you know, it's so cold that ice could form on Antarctica or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, no offense, it's been years then. It's been centuries.
Yeah.
I don't think like it's a problem now.
Yeah, it wouldn't really matter because it's not like that anymore. I think it's more the idea of it kind of debunks, it's supposed to debunk the whole idea of the Earth was much colder in the past and it's getting warmer.
I see. Or not icy.
Interesting little side fact. I learned this from Milo Rossi on YouTube. He is fantastic. You should go watch him. I mean, people probably already watch him because he's got a very big channel, but he's very cool. He does like archaeology and like environmental science stuff. It's really, really cool. So that's where I learned about this map and the conspiracy theorists.
Nice.
And it's probably a similar kind of phenomenon as the imaginary islands that, you know, things just look different on these maps because they kind of had to infer stuff and they couldn't really go and check. So for us, they look really weird.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that points to not everything on these maps being real,
Yes.
like ice-free Antarctica and the Brazil island, is that one of the maps that show the island of Brazil has next to it a giant sea creature.
Well, of course.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you the sea creature because it's cool.
Is it a little friend to the river serpent? Oh, dear Lord. That is exactly how some parents, you know, when children are little and you cannot tell if it's a girl or a boy.
Yes.
And then sometimes certain parents who really want you to know it's a girl,
They put a bow on it.
they put just the tiniest amount of hair into two very high ponytails, like two little
Yeah.
pigtails.
That's what this creature looks
That's
like.
what she looks like.
Aw.
She's very bonita, you know.
She's
very
cute.
beautiful.
She is. She has little claws and a curly tail, and she's got like a mermaid fin at the end of her.
And her face is like, you know, old-timey people didn't know what lions looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like an old-timey lion.
Yes. And she has wrinkles on her forehead.
Well, don't
She
we
did
all?
not have Botox.
Oh, actually, I've recently learned that certain male celebrities. I say this as if I have insider knowledge. I don't. Certain male celebrities will let the wrinkles form and then apply Botox, so that not more wrinkles form.
Oh, so they only have the wrinkles that they chose to have.
Yeah, and then people are like, "Oh, they age so well," and it's like, "Oh, but the wrinkles don't move."
That is so sneaky.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what she did.
maybe she knew about it. Mm-hmm. She was like, "I want the natural Botox, please."
Oh, and here next to her is the island of Brazil.
Oh, but she's tiny.
She's very small
compared to the sea
the-
creature.
Yes, to the sea creature and to actual Brazil, which is...
Oh, actual Brazil is there as well?
Actual Brazil is also here.
Oh, wow.
It's a big map. But yeah, even though a lot of people went to look for this island, none of them found it.
Yes.
But there are some thrilling tales brought to us by crews of ships that landed on the mythical island by accident.
Oh.
Yes. So apparently it's one of those places that you can't find if you look for it, but you can accidentally end up there.
Like Narnia.
Like Narnia. They discovered some interesting things.
Go on.
And that's when you will see why the random rocks that actually exist in that region are probably not this island. Let's hear what's going on Hy-Brasil according to Captain John Nisbet from County Donegal in 1674. This is a longer quote from an article by Sean Lynch for Utopian Studies magazine. And this article is basically about the history of the mapping and the sort of exploratory investigations into Hy-Brasil. So, we learn he, Captain John Nisbet, and his crew were in waters west of Ireland, surrounded by fog. When it lifted, his ship appeared dangerously close to rocks. Nisbet and 3 crew then rowed ashore and found cattle, sheep, horses, and a large castle. They knocked on the castle door, but there was no answer. When night came, the crew made their way to the beach and lit a fire. A hideous noise then arose, and they fled to the boat. They returned the next day to find a group of old men on the shore, dressed in outdated clothes and talking old-fashioned speech. They claimed to have been locked up in the castle, and that Nisbet's fire broke the spell of their imprisonment, causing the castle to collapse. The liberated men confirmed that the island was indeed Brazil, before being brought to Killybegs, where by virtue of their ancient clothes, money and antiquated language, they persuaded many of their story. Upon the arrival of Nisbet's ship to Killybegs, a second ship set out under the command of Alexander Johnson. He too found the island and returned to confirm the tales of Nisbet and crew.
Ah.
Yes.
So, mass hallucination?
Probably. No, the thing is, this account actually comes from a fictional letter written by an English author as, you know, a story, but a lot of sources at the time treated it as factual.
Oh, I see.
So it kind of became part of the folklore. You'd think that if there was a castle, it would be findable.
Yeah. It's a little bit how certain fans think that because they can interpret gay things in Taylor Swift's writing, that she's clearly in denial.
Oh yeah, obviously.
So it's giving that
Kind of.
old One Direction, where it's like they're clearly all doing each other, and it's like,
Oh yeah, of course.
like maybe not girly.
It's about the same level of reality. I mean, interesting idea. People held captive in the castle from a different time.
I mean, to the point where, what were they eating, girl?
Maybe there were snacks inside the castle. I don't know.
Protein bars.
Protein bars.
Cliff bars. It's just us, this old-timey money, and Cliff bars.
Exactly.
Yes. They had the dehydrator.
Oh, like the astronaut food?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I've been like, very into wilderness backpacking. So I was thinking about that, but sure.
That is funny. And yeah, there are some islands and rocks, but none of them have signs of inhabitation or anything like that. So they don't seem to be the site of the mythical castle, which is fictional anyway. But something as unimportant as reality stands no chance at harming the enduring appeal of the mythical Brazil island. Of course not. As Barbara Freitag writes in her book, phantom islands that can be spotted from the Irish west coast only at certain times are a recurring element in Irish oral traditions. Some stories, like an alleged manuscript from 1636, whose existence is kind of murky.
Oh,
There was a report of, somebody wrote about this manuscript and said, oh, I found it in this library, but it doesn't exist anymore. So we don't really know if it was there or not. But this manuscript, for example, hypothesizes that islands like Hy-Brasil and its friends are home of the Tuatha Danann, so the ancient mythical race, the fairy race, that is said to have invaded and conquered Ireland in the distant past. And after they were driven away by human invaders, these tales say that they found refuge in these phantom islands and that they are shielded from the eyes of human beings there. So it's kind of where they're safe from human interference. And that's why the islands are only visible once every 7 years and you can't really get there.
I see.
Also, our boy Yeats, W.B. Yeats.
Oh, I know him.
Yes.
Yeah. Not personally.
No?
Yeah, I don't think I was alive.
That's true. He collected Irish fairy and folk tales, and he mentions Hy-Brasil twice. And according to him, if it is spotted, that is a sign of misfortune for the country.
The country?
Yes, like for the whole country. So yeah, if you see Hy-Brasil, something bad is happening to
You're
Ireland.
gonna lose the euros.
Yes. Don't worry, there's the other mention of Hy-Brasil is very nice. Yeats says, even though seeing Hy-Brasil is bad luck, if you manage to go to Hy-Brasil, you will never know labor or care, and you will instead be able to listen to the tales of the hero Cuchulainn for the rest of your days. So you will not have to work anymore, you'll be fine.
Oh, I thought labor as in the party, but okay, go on.
Maybe also that.
Which would also, depending on the person.
Yeah, we don't know who's going to Hy-Brasil. No, but instead you can just chill there and listen to the hero Cuchulainn, who apparently is also there, like this mythical hero, and he will tell you stories of his adventures. So that's quite good.
Yeah, that or colonialism. Spotting Hy-Brasil, going to Hy-Brasil.
Yeah.
One of the two is nicer than the other.
Absolutely, yes. But then again, for the men in the castle, it wasn't that great. So I guess those are different versions. Unrelated.
You don't know what the men got up to in the castle.
That's true. Maybe they liked it.
Very
being trapped
lonely,
in the castle.
Lonely times.
Yeah.
You form strong bonds.
So yeah, those are the kind of well-documented tales. On the other hand, there are many collections of local tales, especially ones that are based on stories by the Gaelic-speaking population that actually don't mention any Phantom Islands.
Oh.
So it seems to be something that, came up repeatedly, but it wasn't one of the core elements of Irish mythology. It wasn't one of the main bits, but it is something that kind of was widespread on the West Coast. And one last person we briefly have to mention when we talk about Hy-Brasil is a man called Thomas Johnson Westrup, because he was the ultimate Phantom Island nerd in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Because he claimed that as a child he saw the Phantom Island 3 times and his interest in it never dropped. So he started really investigating what these islands were about, and he started collecting information, and he made sketches also of other landmarks and also historical sites in Limerick and Clare. So he was generally interested in these landmarks, and he published a lot of articles about the Phantom Islands. Those show that in local beliefs these Phantom Islands are usually associated with sunken land. Atlantis ?
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, I see, I guess. Australia ?
Antarctica ? We don't know. There are sort of Atlantis style stories of cities or monasteries that were sunk usually by evil magic. But they can, reveal themselves on the surface of the water once every 7 years. And that could maybe explain why in Yeats' story the Phantom Island is like a harbinger of doom. Because maybe like the evil magic escapes from it when it's not under the sea or
Once
something
every
like that.
7 years. Hey, with the current political climate, once every 7 years, I would be happy if one bad thing happened every 7 years.
Yeah, I think that would be okay. I think we could deal with that. We have to check on the status of Hy-Brasil. Maybe it's always there now.
maybe she appeared.
And she stayed. Certainly, this idea of it being a harbinger of doom is not just Yeats' idea, because a lot of fishermen from the western counties would not set out to sea if a Phantom Island appeared, because they firmly believed that the mystical islands foretold storm, shipwreck, and death at sea. And then they would become swans.
Then they would become swans.
Yes. So we come full circle.
Aww. I mean, that does make sense to me. It might just be like, oh, the sea's very choppy today. I see something out there.
There's also theories that it's some kind of like reflection, like some atmospheric reflection phenomenon. And that maybe it happened when weather conditions were about to turn stormy or something like that.
That would make a lot of sense. Geomysticism, I think it's called. Or geomythology. Where like people found dinosaur bones because it is said, oh, this is the lair of the dragon.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Like mythical explanations for actual phenomena. That's always really cool. I love that.
Me too.
That's really fascinating.
Maybe that's the river serpent.
Yes.
Like maybe they just made a grave too close to the river and then they're like, oh,
River serpent.
That's why that body's in there. River serpent. I know, it was a half horse, half serpent.
Obviously, maybe they found some little like hoof prints next to it.
I still am so hung up on the river serpent.
The river serpent is iconic.
Nice, thank you so much.
Of course. I hope you enjoyed the stories.
I really did.
Nice. I'm glad.
Love knowing more about the Corrib. Good river.
Good river, good bay, good sea. Yeah.
Galway really is recommend going there.
Yeah, it's very, very nice.
It's beautiful. And now you can, pet a little dog if you are out at night.
Pet a little hellhound, hell chihuahua.
Flirt with the devil.
Listen to the banshees. Don't ask them to wash your clothes, that's very rude.
Yeah.
And maybe you will spot a Phantom Island if you're very lucky.
Or unlucky. Actually, don't look out at sea.
No, don't. Just don't look.
We don't need any more unluck.
Nope. And so we leave the windy shores of Galway Bay behind us. Anna is sailing away in a lovely little boat.
Love.
To find the good fortune of Hy-Brasil that Yeats has promised.
Yay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for having me. This was lovely.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I hope you, it sounded very aggressive. I hope you, listener, enjoyed yourself too and did not get pulled into the waters by any hellhounds or trapped by the weeping of a cleanly banshee. But if you did, I'm sure the banshee would tell you to follow Midnight Culture Club. Either subscribe on Spotify or the new Midnight Culture Club YouTube channel, where you'll find the full-length episodes and also some fun shorts. And in some of those you can behold my face should you be thus inclined.
Oh my god, face reveal!
But most importantly, remember the first rule of Midnight Culture Club and tell everyone, your mates from the pub, the local fishermen and the body-snatching river serpents, tell them all about Midnight Culture Club. And thus I fill my parting glass and bid thee farewell. Not forever though. I hope to see you again soon, here on the nocturnal side. Sweet dreams and good night.